who is going to win the NFC South? Who is going to be the best team in a division that feels like it's been pretty wide open for the past couple of years? Regardless, the Bucs have managed to still dominate with a lot of question marks, a lot of young potential for all of these teams. Bucs are set at 9.5, which feels reasonably accomplishable for them. Where do you stand on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at 9.5?
It's silly to think that the Buccaneers won't make the playoffs in a division where every other team is dying to hand them that crown by the end of the year. The last 4 to 5 game stretch, nobody wants to win the division. Everyone's slopping it up in the mud, and Tampa Bay just emerges with the cleanest shirt to go on to the playoffs. So until I see any type of changes, serious, tangible changes from the other teams, which there's one that has made serious changes and one that's on the rise, but Tampa Bay is the surefire lock for this division, given inconsistency being the number one factor from the other teams. Tampa Bay, I don't think, is the most talented team in this division. They might have
who's the most talented?
I genuinely think Atlanta has the most talent on their team, but that doesn't make them a better team. Tampa Bay is tenfold a better team than Atlanta. That's why they're going to be coasting into the 10-win mark.
I'm cutting you off here. I don't think you can so definitively state that Atlanta is the more talented team. I think Atlanta has improved gradually over the past couple of years. They've gotten better, and they've definitely in a lot better situation considering the fact that they had shit awful quarterbacks, and then now suddenly you've got a really young, promising, exciting guy in Michael Penix.
Oh, the truth?
Fine, I will agree with the truth. I loved Michael Penix, and I loved him as a prospect, and I'm glad that he's getting his shot. And I was in favor of him getting picked where he did. It was a little bit aggressive, but he was worthy of going in the first round, and I think he showed flashes of that in the 3 games that he played this past year. But at the same time, both these teams still have deficiencies, and they have serious strengths. You can't say so confidently. You just can't.
I can, because
how?
Drake London is a younger Mike Evans. Darnell Mooney is a younger Chris Godwin. Bijan Robinson, top 3 running back in the league. Chris Lindstrom has been a consensus first-team All-Pro guard. And I would say comparatively for the Buccaneers, if you want to throw that out, put that on Wirfs, and I'll give a clean slate, equal offensive lines between, even though Jake Matthews has gone 14 straight years, not any recognition of being a cornerstone left tackle in the league. Defensively, I'm not going to be ringing the bell saying, hey, watch out for this Atlanta defense. But I will say Tampa doesn't have a better corner than A.J. Terrell, and they don't have a better safety than Jesse Bates. So if I'm going paper research here, who would be the better team talent-wise, Atlanta has that edge. But Tampa has the depth, and they play defense harder, and that's why they win more games.
I would say edge goes a quarterback for Baker, even though Michael Penix might have potential.
I would almost put them even.
No.
I'd almost say they're even.
After 3 games, dude. You can't say shit like that after 3 games. You just can't. I'm not going to let you. Offensive lines are comparable. Defensive line is significantly stronger for the Bucs compared to the Falcons.
Agreed.
Linebacker unit's a lot better for the Bucs compared to the
what
Falcons.
about Jalen Walker? We're not ready for Jalen Walker to.
Well, he's not going to be playing linebacker. He's going to be an edge rusher.
No one knows what he's going to be playing. Nobody knows what he's going to be playing.
He is going to be a stand-up nose tackle. I'm telling you right now. That's what I want.
Why would you even put that? Why would you even put that in the universe, dude?
It's my new favorite position that I keep pushing on people. It's like, let's put this guy at stand-up zero tech. Let's just.
Who did the crossover? Was it Rashawn Gary that did the crossover at the guard position, or was it Micah that tried to do the nose tackle crossover rush inside? But I'm an edge rusher.
I want to say it was Micah. Are you talking about the guy who would line up and he would sit there and do the crossover and then rush? I think it was Micah that was doing that.
I feel like someone did it before Micah, but I'm not gonna solid on it. If I see Jalen Walker doing that, pull him out the game, Raheem. Get him out the game.
Okay, the ceiling for Jalen Walker is him being like. Actually, I'm not. That would have been an insane statement. I had to cut myself off before it even started to come out of my mouth. There is a hope with the play style that he could be almost as impactful as Micah Parsons, because it's hybrid linebacker that eventually becomes a full-time pass rusher. Like, there were some people that were throwing that comparison around. There were some mostly former NFL guys that I listened to on Good Morning Football. I forget who it is, but like I kept like ESPN, former NFL player analysts were trying to make the comparison. Like, oh, he reminds me of Micah Parsons. Not all the way there. You can't get pissed at him if he's doing cool shit before the snap.
Yes, I can.
Like Micah Parsons.
Yes,
would.
I can, because they're not winning games. And I know that's how I'm going to be.
You just don't want Jalen Walker to be good. That's all this is.
Let's save this. All right. Let's dog ear this for the Atlanta discussion.
Okay.
Pardon me for bringing that in. Tampa Bay, the over, I think, is the most solid play that we have for them.
I think automatically we get 2 free wins with the Saints.
Yep.
And I'm setting the table here for the rest of these teams as we get to them. 2 free wins with the Saints. You're at the very least in the division going to split, possibly sweep the Panthers. So you could already be up to 4 and then split with Atlanta. You're at 5. We need 5 more wins to get to 10. They do have a pretty tough schedule, though, because they're playing the NFC West. They have to go toe-to-toe with the AFC East, which could be a lot more exciting and capable this year, but they could also be complete ass. The Jets and the Patriots could be, total crap on certain parts of the field. So, like, that's the kind of the question mark of who they have to deal with. They also have to play Detroit, which is going to be really hard. I think I'm going to lean towards the under of them going like 9-7 and still being in the playoff mix.
I'm worried about their under because they just sneak by, and they got hurt last year and they still snuck by. When Atlanta got their second win against Tampa last year, it was when Tampa didn't have a wide receiver. I think they just didn't have that kind of depth. And then once they got healthy, late November, they just charged on past, playing par football. They weren't playing exceptional ball. But in the NFC South, all of these choking ass chokers would just love to bend down and say, take it, take the division, take it from us. We don't want it. We are all talk. Carolina was all talk, and then they had to figure everything out last year. Saints have been awful, which I love. I can't wait to bash the Saints in a couple minutes. But the Buccaneers have been the only team that has actually taken themselves seriously and acted as an NFL team should. And that's why they will continue to win games. The 9 wins is tasty because you think Baker can't just keep it up. I think he can. I think he's a perennial 9 to 10 win quarterback. He's not going to blow our doors off and have a 14 win year. It's going to be right in the middle, and it's going to be sweaty, but Tampa Bay wins.
All right, let's get to the Atlanta Falcons. 7.5 wins is a Sunday show. If you folks can't tell, we get distracted a lot easier on these. 7.5 wins is what the Falcons have. Are you taking over or under 7.5 wins?
While the Falcons are capable of losing every single game on this schedule, and if you wanted to just pick a game, I'll tell you how they'll lose them. They hit the over. This is finally the year where Raheem Morris saves himself, not with good coaching. This is the year where Terry Fontenot saves himself, not with good drafting. Both of them, they got lucky. They got lucky that Michael Penix Jr. ended up being capable.
I hate this take by you.
They got lucky, Joe, because they don't do anything else right. And now with a capable quarterback and a very good wide receiver one in Drake London, who is a possession receiver that can go up against any CB1 in the league, a dynamic running back who has been handcuffed with so many penalties, 495 yards of offensive penalties last year, many taking back touchdowns. If they get right, which I expect them to get a little more right, they can do it. They could win the NFC South. Do I think they will? No, because they're going to let the 49ers embarrass them for no reason on October 19th, where Brock Purdy throws for 3 touchdowns and Ricky Pearsall's coming out party just because Mike Hughes was underprepared. They could lose to the Panthers because they completely overlooked Bryce Young and his development in year 3. They could get run all over and bullied by the Seattle Seahawks, who play a harder brand of defense than Atlanta. But the talent very well could prevail, and I believe it can prevail. If this team can actually average over 21 points a game, this offense can do that, then nothing should stop them from staying in ball games. With the turnover machine in the back end on defense and Jesse Bates as well, giving you an extra possession a game.
I just think that you're putting a lot of stock into Michael Penix after 3 games. I think that that's a little bit problematic of an approach. They're a great 3 football games, and they're 3 games to get super excited about. But anything can happen the minute that he gets back on the field. We thought that CJ Stroud was going to take this huge, gigantic leap forward after having an amazing rookie season and them going all in, the Texans going all in on building around him. And he still played well, but he stagnated a little bit. Growth is not always going to be as explosive as we all think. So there's a chance that Michael Penix could not live up to the expectations that we're hoping for. I think that he will personally, but I think putting that much stock into believing that him alone is enough to carry them to success, especially considering that their pass rush performance getting vastly better. It was one of the worst in the NFL last year. Getting vastly better is hinging off of drafting 2 rookies in the first round. Very rarely do rookie pass rushers go on to be incredibly productive right off the bat in their first season. So I kind of wonder if this is like the second year of James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker working together, that like their defense actually starts to hit stride. I think what a realistic expectation, though, is that their offense ends up being awesome this year and they just end up losing a bunch of shootouts. I think that that's very plausible. I'm going to take the over because 7.5 is pretty low.
Yeah.
For them to win 8 ball games and to get better. And I think that Raheem Morris needs to do well this year. Terry Fontenot needs to do well this year. Actually, I feel like Fontenot's done enough for himself and he's drafted well enough that he's bought himself more time than Raheem Morris has.
I think that Terry could throw Raheem under the bus, and the problem that people have,
kind of like Ryan Poles just had with the Bears, where no one thought that Ryan Poles was coming back, but he did just enough good things that he earned his keep.
Raheem Morris feels behind the times, and he doesn't feel like he's got the pulse of what this new age Falcons team is supposed to be. I share your sentiment with the defensive line and the edge rush. There has been none whatsoever. The last big day for Atlanta was Adrian Claiborne's 6-sack game against the Cowboys, where he was beating up on a second-string left tackle when Tyron Smith went out. They don't have that. They need a healthy Troy Anderson. Nate Landman has been great. Caden Ellis stepped up big time. That was a good poach job from New Orleans by Terry. I'll give him credit for that. But the defense has been in shambles. It'll still be in shambles. At best, this team looks like the Bengals last year. At best, if baseline, that's what I have it as. I think what I saw from Michael Penix Jr. when I think maybe it was pressure off and I just am stepping in from Kirk. I'm going to go in here, play my game nice and loose. That's all I need him to do. I don't need hero ball, which he was capable of, though. Him being capable of hero ball against a white-hot Washington Commanders team, albeit they lost, that is what this team has been lacking from a quarterback. Because even even Taylor Heineke could throw a 10 and out. He could. It wasn't great, but Michael could throw a little faster. And what else do I have, Joe? What else do I have to believe in for this team? Fan hat on right now. All I can do to prep myself and stave the depression off.
I didn't ask for your fan opinion, though.
Fan hat's on now.
I asked over, under. What are we going for?
I gave you over. I'm sticking over. Fan hat on.
Right.
I need Michael Penix Jr. The city needs him. And this is all we have to believe in. It's all we have. Because if he doesn't work,
hold on.
If he doesn't work,
I hate when you do the city needs him. You're not from Atlanta. I don't like when you do that. You're not from Atlanta.
Are you from New York?
I grew up 20 minutes away from from Meadowlands.
Are you from New York?
The Giants represent Northern New Jersey and New York City. And New York.
The Bills are the only team that plays in New York, pal.
Okay.
Look, I don't know. You could
That's a crazy
to
compare those two things.
You could equally be a Jets fan, by the way.
Okay.
Both teams represent the area. So you chose the better one. And congratulations to you. I chose my team. And I'm plugged in with the city of Atlanta and what they need.
When was the last time you were in Atlanta?
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
All right, let's get to the Carolina Panthers.
Mike Smith was coaching.
Carolina Panthers win total 6.5 wins. I'm taking the over for the Panthers because that number is so low. We're talking about them just needing to win 7 ball games this year. I think that as we saw at the end of last season, even though like Bryce Young showed a lot of promise. He still has a lot of work that needs to be done to like really play to that potential that we once thought he could have as this point guard distributor type of a playmaker. He's got better receivers. If Ted McMillan can live up to the hope that we're putting out for him being a top 15 pick, and if Jalen Coker can be a really quality option for them, and if Xavier Legette, I almost blanked on his name, if he can be a dynamic deep threat in that offense, there are opportunities for this team to get better. I think that their defensive line is super underrated. Nick Scourton and Princely Umamielen are a kind of Walmart version of what Atlanta did in this draft, where they took two very talented, physically gifted pass rushers that have upside that can play off of one another's skill set. So there is a chance here that this young team could go out there, win maybe even 9 ball games this season. I'm not going to go that far to say that like this could be a fringe playoff team, but I think that for Canales and for this franchise to start showing signs of getting better, this is a year where they can certainly accomplish that, especially with the bright spots that they showed at the end of last year. This one feels pretty easy to take.
I am rolling with the under here, and that is not a hating ass take either. I'm rooting for Bryce Young. I think that he took some lumps last year that were needed, and he came back better. And that's all you can ask from a quarterback who was struggling on a really bad team, is to come back better. But the Panthers, when you're looking at these games, it's going to be tough for me to pencil them in for 7. Even if they split with Atlanta, which they will, they're going to steal one from them, probably with Atlanta hosting. Realistically, though, the skells that they'd be going against are the Jaguars, the Cardinals, the Jets, and they get 2 wins off the Saints. Everyone else, I just don't think that they're going to magic their way into some big miraculous win. And I will walk back some Chuba Hubbard disrespect. He was more impressive than expected last year, and keeping him shows some maturity from the team, where you're not just going out and trying to find the next B running back on the market like Miles Sanders. What a great addition that was for the Carolina Panthers. Embarrassing. So they're trying to build in-house, which is a good process for them to actually start doing, but it's not the year yet. I thought Legette looked a bit raw last year. He needs to take a big step, genuinely. He needs to become a dominant force on the outside if they want to get 7. That means you stop messing around with Glorilla, please. No.
I would argue that the motion that he's got off the field, for me, means I know that he's going to have a big season this year.
You think that his off-field motion is worthy of another win?
That's how it works. Because he's not doing stupid shit. He's not getting, his off-field motion's not him getting caught up on a boat with drugs in his hand. No, he's getting after it with Glorilla. I think that proves she knows he's got that energy. He's got that positive energy to be a big time playmaker. I'm intrigued by the Panthers. I really am. Because if they really we could be watching like the next real big step for them in a rebuild where they actually find some footing. But they're not a winning football team. They are not going to win as many games, which is going to be a bummer because they do have an exciting quarterback that I hope does well moving forward. Saints 5.5 is their win total for 2025. Their win total should be 2. This team sucks. This is the worst team in the NFL. Worse than the Cleveland Browns. I'm tired of seeing it. I just did a mock draft for Pro Football Network this past weekend, and I had to go off of the record prediction draft order that was presented. I know. Well, they're paying me to do them. I'm not going to say no to being offered.
Trust me. I am
money to write a mock draft. Well, I kind of like these because when you do the 2026 mock draft, it's like nobody like really knows. You can kind of just throw a bunch of names as long as like the guys that I've watched that I liked are in the first round. That's all I'm trying to do in the first 50 picks. I try to include all the guys that I like. And then there's always some mouth breather that's like, how dare you not have so-and-so in the first round? And it's like, buddy, you don't know that. There's nothing to commit to at the current moment. It's the summer. It's June, like you just said.
You draft
everything
freaks,
can change.
You guys crack me up because you can't. You're bugs to the zapper where you can't ignore the mock draft. These people that are obsessed with the NFL draft, they can't ignore it, and they can't just okay, that was a mock draft. They have to comment and get in the mix too.
Also, Ryan commented Saints are better than the Browns. The Browns suck. That is not true.
No.
You at least have Myles Garrett. You at least have Mason Graham, who they just drafted. They got better damn receivers than the Saints. Who is the Saints' best player? Chris Olave? Is that what we're doing? Just Chris Olave. Alvin Kamara at the end of his career?
Probably Chris Olave. Yeah.
I know we're not talking Chase Young as one of the best players.
They got a 14th season Cam Jordan coming off the edge this year.
Yeah, that's great. That's real great. Carl Granderson?
Who? Tyrann Mathieu on the back end?
This team sucks.
Yeah.
Here's the starting corners. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'm actually kind of excited about. Isaac Yadom. That's how I know your team's bad, because that dude gets passed around left and right. I'm like, oh, crap, we need a new corner. Oh, Isaac Yadom's available. He was on the Giants at one point when they were ass. This team sucks. Drafted Danny Stutzman thinking they were going to get something.
Oh, you got to love the Stut. Come on, put some love on the Stut.
Team is going to win 2 football games this year. I don't even need to look at their schedule. What's the redeeming quality? They got a really good head coach. I'm excited about that, but this is a multi-year retouch. They're going to be drafted first overall.
Retouch.
There's it needs to get completely retouched, cleaned up.
No. We can't even use a wrecking ball here. We need to actually bring in the detonators and take it all down from floor one. It's a bad team. And I take all joy in saying that it's a bad team.
Take the fan hat off for 1 second.
I will always run down the Saints. And I what am I going to say that you didn't just say about the Saints?
Well,
from an analytical standpoint, I now want to twist the knife. I want to twist the knife.
But you let it in like you were going to allow your emotions to affect your opinion.
Their old, short shit butt quarterback is doing bad betting commercials on TV. There's no legacy there. There's no vibe or aura. Olave has been a very unimpressive wide receiver one who doesn't seem like he's enjoyed a minute in New Orleans. Press conferences with him have been like he was doing them from a morgue. He is not happy there. And there's no reason for him to be, because the quarterbacks that he's had throwing them the ball are nut jobs. And not because Derek Carr is a crazy person, but because when he takes the ball in the backfield, you don't know what's going to happen. He is a wind-up toy rotating around, and then eventually the ball comes out. And if you think Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck or Jake Hayner are going to be any better than that, then you are falsely mistaken. I'm rooting for an 0-17 year. I took no pride in seeing the Detroit Lions go 0-16 and 0-8. Less pride in seeing the Cleveland Browns go 0-16 in 2016. This year, 2025, if we could see the first 0-17 season,
they're not that
17
bad.
losses. You have them as a 2-win over.
Hold on. I was being hyperbolic. They are not Browns Lions bad. They're not.
For the modern NFL, I'd say they are. They got they have one to 3 pieces that you'd give a B or above grade on their team.
Actually, okay, so here, the reason why I think that they're bad, they have decent players. They have high floor, decent starters. They're okay. My problem with the Saints team is I don't have a redeeming, this guy is going to take them over the top. This guy is going to explode and have a huge performance. They don't have that. They don't have any really threatening. Again, outside of Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, they don't have any weapons that scare me.
You know what? There's one game right here that I could say they win, and it's on the circumstance of playing a rookie quarterback in week 17, 1 week before the end of the season, that they could get lucky if he's having a bad year. And that's if they play Cam Ward and his year goes poorly. They play the Titans. That could be their one win. That's it. Because I have no confidence in them beating the Panthers. The Panthers at least have some upwards momentum.
They're not going to go 0-17.
I'm rooting for it. God, I hope they do. I hope all their fans.
Okay, well, they're probably going to beat the Giants.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will.
The Giants defense is going to wipe the floor with them.